Hey guys, you got Fred Moore 3 here. Welcome to our channel and welcome to our home studio tour. Hey guys, we'll go ahead and get started with the drums because that's where it all starts. Anyways, what we got going here is we've got a Gretsch USA custom kit here mostly. And right now I've got my Tama Artwood snare going up here. It's 13 by 7. And I don't really use this one a whole bunch, just a part in a song called For Something Different, and that fit it. But normally, my favorite snare is always going to be this DW Signature Series, and it's got Pure Sound wires on the back. And the reason why I stick with this the most because of the tuning range. This thing goes from low to high and everywhere in between, and it's a really beautiful snare, and I really love it a lot. And we've got a 10-inch tom right here, and this is a Gretsch USA custom. And then we've got the floor tom here. And then this kick drum here it's a Gretsch USA Cannon series. It's a pretty rare drum. It's 22 inches tall by 24 inches long. They only made them for 2 years. I feel very fortunate, lucky, blessed, whatever, to have it. So I'm very thankful for that. And then I've got a set of Sabian 13-inch AA Fusion hats, Pasty Signature Series crash cymbals, a 16 and an 18, they're full crashes, and a 22-inch ride. Then I've got a Sabian AA 6-inch splash with Pasty Color Sound 4-inch on top of it that gives us a nice splat that I totally dig, and a Wuhan right there. And I think we'll go covering up on the mics next. For the overheads right there, these are Cat Equitech 2Bs. This one actually came from Rhythm City in the 90s. And these are the first generation mics, and they were very, very expensive. And then I found this on Craigslist in Nashville for on the cheap, so I was happy to have it. Those large diaphragm mics really work good on overheads. They're great vocal mics. They work killer. Hey man, I got a 57 on the top of the snare with the Pure Sound wires. I have nothing on the bottom because it is just a lot of spring sound. And you know, as we compress the sound, those lighter sounds compress the snare. Those lighter sounds, they'll come up a little bit, and that's plenty without having two on the top. And if it wasn't enough, we can always add it in later via samples, mics, whatever you want to do. And on the hi-hat, I actually used to use an Audio-Technica small condenser, but this 57 with a windscreen, I tried it out one time and I was like, yo, that's my jam. So I'm totally happy with that. I don't plan on changing. And then for the toms, I have these Shure 98s that a really good Nashville engineer and producer gave to me about 10 years ago now. And they've been very good to me, and I really, really, really love them a lot. And I've got the DW Series 7000 custom pedals down there, and we've just resurfaced those things, and they are so smooth and so nice. We've also changed out the stock beaters for these DW weighted beaters, and they're super quick and they punch, and I really like it a lot. So we're going to go around to the other side now, and I do have my drummer's table here, and I do actually do a little mini mapping with the D5 that's in there. So where we're at next, we're going to get back to this bass drum one more time, and I think we've covered all the mics out front. Now we're going to do the bass drum mics right here. Inside the kick drum is an Audix D6, and it's about maybe 12 inches from the beater, and it's pointed right at it. That Audix D6 works so good, it's crazy. I mean, it's got all the punch that you need, and for a microphone that's that far up into a kick drum, it's actually got a lot of low end to it, full range to it. I really love it a lot. And then on the outside, I really want to turn people on to this right here. I had a set of studio monitors, the Precision 8s by Event, that actually went out. So I pulled the woofer out of that box right there. And then what we did is we took a short mic cable extension, and we put the hot wire to the ground wire to the hot. Now this thing is a sub-kick mic, and it is an awesome mic that sounds killer. And pretty much on the free, took an old snare stand to hang it with, and then we'll pop it in the front of the head right here, And I mean, sub frequencies so clean. It is such a good mic, and it's on the free. So, you know, I'd like to see everybody that's recording drums just build one, man, and try it out. I mean, you really like it a lot. Plus, so what we do for kick drum recording, we've got the Audix D6. We've got our sub kick mic, and I'll usually actually take a trigger just in case and do a little MIDI mapping so we can add flavor or not. I mean, I try to get drums as natural as I can without using any kind of processing on it. So I think that covers it for the drums. And next, we're gonna move on to guitars. All right, thanks a lot. All right, hey, if I was watching this video and I saw a drum set, I'd be like, let's hear it. Play that thing, man. Hey, y'all, like and subscribe. We'll play a lot of drums, you'll hear it. Anyways, we're moving on to guitars now. And first thing in the line is, hey man, it's my orange PPC 212 closed back vintage 30 cabinet, and I use this thing a lot, and I truly love this box. It has a low end, a lot of low end, and a lot of definition. It's killer. So yeah, 257s. I always mic my guitar cabs with 257s for now. And we'll move up to this Fender Rumble 350. This is my bass amp. I picked it up off of Craigslist actually, and I bring it in that way when I'm jamming with friends of mine, they don't have to bring their bass rigs over. They can just bring their guitars, plug right in, and it's good to go. Well, when I got it home, it's got an overdrive section in it, and I tried that overdrive section. Man, it sounded just like Rage Against the Machine. EQ it up, a couple of pedals, and it's hard to beat this thing. So I only use that for recording, basically for that sound. And the way that I'll mic this one is I'll take the 57 that's got the windscreen on it, and I'll pop one right here. I'll use that. I'll use my sub speaker that I showed you on the drum sets. I'll use that on here, and a direct line. And I'll just use this for, like, you know, just certain flavors and certain spots. Otherwise, it's pretty much direct for the bass around here. Now we're gonna move on to the guitars. Now this is the only acoustic I have, and it's an Eastman. In the right room, in the right situation, this thing does sing, but I'm actually looking for another acoustic, but this one will do it until I really get it going. I just spent some time at my brother's house in Florida, and he had a James Taylor limited edition Martin. That thing blew my mind. I mean, that was heavier than a Les Paul, projecting, and just a beautiful machine. I can see why that, you know, some of those get high end and get so expensive. And then I've got my bass, and I've been using this bass for so long. I mean, it's covered the job so well that I haven't had any need for another bass, and I don't think I will. As my wife bought this for me for my birthday back down in Florida at Brent's Music headquarters, and I've really dug it a lot. It's a TBC, and it's pretty much set up like a Music Man and a Fender combo. This is an active pickup right here, but this knob seems to take the active in and out. So it's like back passive, forward active, and I mean, you can really adjust some nice stuff out of it. I like this bass, man. I pretty much use it on everything, and I totally dig it. And then next up is my Strat, and once again, this was another gift from my super cool wife, and this is a pawn shop guitar. And years ago, back in the 90s, Chris Conrad had scalloped this neck for me, and I really dig it a lot. And there's a Seymour Duncan pearly gates in the back of this, and I kept all the factory wiring because this actually has a treble boost on this bottom one right here, and it works super nice. So there's two tones on it. One tone will run this pickup right here. The other tone will run these two pickups right here with the selector one at a time. It's super sick. So we've got a super Strat sound, and we can get that original, like that double stop Hendrix tone out of these. And this is beautiful. I love the lock-in tuners. I love the roller nut, and I really dig this guitar, and we use it quite a bit. And then we've got this little junior copy. This was actually a free body for me. Somebody gave this to one of my sons years ago, and it sat in a closet, and I was getting ready to build a precision kit one, and I had ordered off the Seymour Duncan Fat Cat as well as a little kit with the material pullback wiring, the old 50 style wiring, and some Burns 500K pots and Switchcraft parts, plus lock-in tuners on it. And for a P90, this thing's got that bite and that bark, but I mainly use this for slide. And I'm getting ready to get one of those little extenders that goes over the top of this from StewMac and raise this bridge up and actually use this for a lap steel. And that is what I have specific for this guitar, and I totally dig it. It's bitey, it stays in tune well, and I mean, it screams, and I totally dig it. So moving on here, then we've got my XR1. Now, I've had this guitar for a long time. This is a 1982 XR1 Gibson Les Paul. And these are pre-studios, and they have the same appointments as the classics in that year. And we've got our dirty fingers in it, and these do split from doubles into singles. Speed knobs, I really dig it. This front pickup, I mean, hey man, this is the slash tone right here. You can't hardly mess it up. And this back pickup here is super heavy. This guitar weighs a ton, neck like a baseball bat. It's like a chunk of wood. And I use this for really thick. All my meat and potato stuff right here comes from this guitar, and I totally dig it. I've been using it for a long time. I'm used to it. It feels right, and I totally dig it. And then this is a recent purchase. This is an Eastman Les Paul, and it came from the factory already, super hot rodded. One-piece body, one-piece neck, really nice tuners, and it's got Grover everything on it. And these are actually Seymour Duncan pearly gates in this as well, and they're 500K pots. And this is all done right. And this guitar is super smooth. It's a butter stick, and I use this guitar every single day for lots of stuff. And then we're moving on up here. We're gonna move on right through here, and we're gonna head over here to the amps. Now this is a recent purchase for me right here. This is a Friedman PT. It's a little taco, and hey man, I really like it. I mean, hey man, modded Marshall in the box, you can't beat it. A lot of people think it's a modded Plexi, and I get that. It's Plexi-ish, but so I've been fortunate to be recording for a long time, and I've had the fortune of recording a ton of Marshalls, and my take, and owning them as well. And my take on this is that this is more JMP. It's got a gain structure switch on it that's in 3 positions, and on the up position, this reminds me of a 4-hole JMP, a modded one, and it's really conducive to Van Halen, Rat, all that great stuff from the 80s. You can get that tone. And then we put it in the middle, the gain structure in the middle switch, it reminds me of a 2-hole JMP, like a stock one, especially if you turn the gain back. And then if you put the structure all the way to the bottom, hey man, we're in McMars land now. I mean, it is just so fat and chunky and smooth. I love this head, and we're gonna demo it. And then right next to it, I've got this Wangs 2404 hand-wired 800 section. And I thought the same thing as you do when I heard Wangs. I was like, yeah, whatever. But way back in the MySpace day, I saw this Asian dude, man, with like long black hair and cut off flannel shirts at Les Paul, and he was 412 cabinet, and he was sitting in front of it, and I was flipping through the MySpace, and I just heard a piece of it and flipped back, and I was like, holy moly, man, that thing's one of the best sounding 800s I ever heard. And then 10 years later, one comes up for sale, brand new, for $730. 2 years ago, I took a chance on it, and I'm super glad that I did. The V2 Hot Mod is actually on the way right now, and we're going to install this and mod this up, and this will give me 2 modded Marshall sounds, and I really dig it. And then I've got 2 412 cabinets right here. This one actually I use a lot, this B box, and I'll mic the tops, and these are GT 12T75 Celestians that are in this box, and I really like them. I know they get a lot of hate on YouTube, and I don't understand what that's about, because that's a fine speaker. And actually this, in conjunction with my orange cabinet with the V30s in it, it is just a great combination. This was a project box. I bought it as, for a project price tag, and then I bring it home and plugged it in, and it sounds awesome too. I don't know whether I'm gonna roll speakers through this or whether I'm gonna put a new grill cloth on and sell it. I haven't decided yet. So now we are going to come over here to Pedal Land. And what we've got going right here in Pedal Land is this board right here, this right here is, I actually built these pedal boards, and this one, it goes in the effects loop of the Taco. And first of all, when we're going into the effects lane, delay is going to be first. Then we're going to reverb our delay, and I never use the tremolo at the same time. So these wanted as delay ever. So this tremolo anyway, it's a Voodoo Lab, and it's been adjusted with the pots in there, and this thing is super sick. I can't hardly do without it. I mean, if you set the intensity high and the speed just right to match your song, when you press on that button, it's like wah, 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 right now, and it just makes such a good effect. I've had this for years. I'll never do without it, and if something happens to it, I'll certainly get another one. And this EQ pedal, I use this a lot, and in the effects loop, I mean, this is such a good way to go. And if you're looking for a boost pedal too, for the front of an amp, this EQ pedal is nice. I mean, because, you know, you can just push the gain to where it's pushing that amp, and then it'll really push an amp real far, and then you can really tune it in with all your frequencies. So this is a really important pedal to have, and I really like it, and I'm glad I got it. And then we'll move to this board right here, and we'll start off with what I plug into first. The Fender ABY pedal is really nice because, I mean, I can do a wet dry rig with my stuff, or I can actually plug in, run a line to a head, mic it with 257s, and then have a clean line to run into my Universal Audio Twin. So that way we can do the reamp thing, or it's always nice to have clean signal to mix in, compress the clean signal, fire your reverb, your effects off of it, do your parallel processing, you know, that way for guitars, and that works really, really good. Chromatic tuner I use a lot, and then we're into the wah pedal, and I've had this wah pedal for so long. It's a stock Dunlop, but we've taken it apart, and it's got a dial inside with like an RSST track on it. We've adjusted it to get the treble sweep that, you know, personally I like a lot with this. And then we'll go over here, and this right here, everything, any overdrives or distortion or fuzz does not go to the Friedman. The Friedman does not need extra overdrives or anything like that. Now, sure, for a clean tone, and yes, it does have a clean tone. Clean boost is really good for that, but I mainly use this for the wangs. And if I use the wangs, and I use like a medium amount of the gain for the wangs, so I get that 800 style breakup, and then I use some overdrive from this Love Pedal super lead pedal, this does pull me into super lead land, and this is very special, and I do totally dig it. It takes you right from 800 to like super lead mix blend, and it's very nice, old Marshall-esque, and I really, really dig it. And then for thrash, man, like for super old Metallica, Anthrax, all that kind of 80s thrash metal, this really works good. This little Ibanez Tube Screamer works killer, and I'll do the same thing. Use part gain from the wangs and part gain from this. Now, if I just wanted to get like the regular modded 800 tone, I wouldn't use any of this distortion out of this pedal. It'd be totally turned off. I just use it as a push in front of the box. And then we're going to move on to my fuzz pedal. This is very special to me. This was built by Dog Brain Pedals up in Pennsylvania, and he's a small guy, and he makes some of the most killer, bizarre, freak out pedals for guitars. And this is really unique to me because, you know, my best friend next to my wife, Ron Zurcher, actually bought me this and sent it to me and wouldn't let me pay for the shipping or anything. And I'm super blessed to have it, and I'm very thankful that Ron hooked me up like that. It means a lot. But what we've got going on with this pedal is actually by Dog Brain, and it's called the Church of Zurch. And Zurch is, you know, short for Zurcher, and this guy made this pedal especially for Zach Zurcher, Ron Zurcher's kid, which is a friend of mine too. And as far as I know, there's only 3, and I have one, Zach has one, Ron has one. And what this does is it has a clean boost to it, which I really like. And then it's got fuzz in it, and the fuzz really goes from heavy fuzz to just earth-crushing, crazy madness. And that's why, you know, as I have to use it in a low gain channel with a lower gain head, and it works fantastic. Super octave I use on both heads. Phase I use on both heads. TC Electronic multi-pedal. It's a John Petrucci. I love his guitar playing. And this one will have echo, flange, and chorus in it. And I use it a lot too. So that about does it for the pedals. That about does it for guitars. I know if I was watching this video and I saw all the guitars in the rig, I'd be like, yeah, man, that's pretty cool. What's it sound like? Play them for me. And like and subscribe, and I'll play you lots of guitar, I promise. So we're going to move on next. We're going to move on to the desk and the recording gear next. So thank you. All right, guys, thanks a lot for hanging with me this long. Don't mind me or my Frosty the Snowman mug. Thanks so much. We're going to go over recording gear next. So first thing in my recording gear chain is going to be my Mac Mini. This is a 2018 i7 5-core. It does what I need it to do. It's a good machine. It's cool. I did do the M1 thing when they first come out. Everybody took a year getting with it, so I dipped that thing and got this. And unfortunately, sometime in the future, I'll be heading back that way. But then we've got an Apollo Twin X. I really, really love it a lot. And then going down the rack right here, we've got the Focusrite Octopre with dynamics. And I like it a lot when I'm recording drums. Is really the only time I use that. And what we've got going on with that is I'll use my kick and my snare through the Apollo Unison mic pre's, and we'll treat them with API and usually a 1073 or something like that, just to keep 3 dB of transients down a little bit when we're going in. We like to go in. Everything is, when I'm recording, I like to hit everything at -6, a good strong signal. I don't like to peak over it. This helps me control that. And then what we've got going on is this, hey man, I'll use first tom, second tom, hi-hat, overhead left, overhead right, and the sub kick mic. So, and that works really well, and we'll talk about all that later too. And then next in the rack is my old 03 rack, and I still have a lot of music that I haven't transferred over yet, so I have to keep that going next. Hosa XLR patch bay, and the only thing I use this for is 2 channels, so this goes right into the back of the Twin X, so I don't have to keep plugging in and out of that, plug in and out of this. And then I've got an old Lexicon reverb unit here, and I mean, that thing's got golden nugs in it. I know where they're at. I know they're there if I ever need them. It's nice to have it there to pull it up, and it's one of them sentimental pieces to me that I just can't like put in a closet and never look at again. So it's in my rack, as well as this DAT machine. That was the first digital recorder right there, and back in the analog day, we mixed down everything onto that, and I still have a lot of old music that people want transfers for, so I can't get rid of that either. And then we've got a power supply here and a power supply there. This one runs all of this and the guitar stuff over there. That one runs the desk and the speakers, so we'll go ahead and get to that right now. And I've got a big knob here, and I would use my Twin X for my monitor control, but the big knob has just extra stuff to it, and I need 3 sets of it because I have my Kali Audio IN5s right here. Then I've got a KRK Rocket 10 sub facing the wall on a little lean, and it's hitting the wall, and there's a wood ramp back there that actually that sound will blow up and bring back to me. And so that works real nice. And then we've got these two bigger boxes right here. These are 350 watts, 350 watt amps push them, and they're 475 watt continuous power, 1100 peaks. Those work really nice. And then I've got a Velodyne sub that I run with these right here to fill the room up, and those are there for really 2 reasons. And they're there for client pleasing, because they totally fill the room up, so a band can hear what their mix sounds like on a PA. Also for band practice, because I still like to jam with people and write with people. And when I produce, bands in here, most of the time I'll actually learn their song with an instrument, so that way I know it thoroughly before we even start working on it. Get some production done right there before we even start tracking. Then I've got my M Audio keys, and we'll go ahead and we'll go over all the studio furnishings, and we'll go all the panels and stuff like that, and how we control sound in here. We'll just do that in another video. This one's gotten long. If you've hung around this far, man, hey man, thank you so much. We've got a really super busy summer coming up with some really awesome projects coming with some heavy hitters, man, and we'll want to take you through that process. So if you Want to see what what you can do with your home studio here in Nashville, Tennessee? Hey man, like and subscribe, man. I'll be more than happy to show and tell you everything. Once again, hey man, thanks for hanging out with us. Hey man, God bless you guys. Good luck with everything, and thank you very much. We'll see you in the next one. Hit like and subscribe if you want.